Oh, yeah. In Wisconsin, excuse me, today, this is election day in at least the primary elections. And the New York Times had some reporters there, and they're reporting that as these Republican voters were heading to the polls this morning or today during the day, the candidates for whom they're going to vote were blasting the federal search of the criminal, the Orange Vomits home in Florida on Monday. One of these scum, a guy named Tim Michaels, he's a construction magnate that Trump has endorsed for governor. He said on Twitter that the search amounted to, quote, an overzealous prosecution. Go fuck yourself. Now, like the rest of these fascist Christians, these Christian terrorists are doing, this scum bastard, this Michaels, was trying to tie the federal investigation into Trump to the climate and tax legislation the Senate passed Sunday. And the fact that legislation will increase the size of Internal Revenue Service. Well, the reason, I don't like the Internal Revenue Service agents any more than anybody else, I guess, but I don't have a problem with them because I file my returns and pay my fucking taxes. That's all. Right? I mean, it would seem to me the IRS has nothing to do with tax policy. They have to do with tax enforcement. So going after the IRS because of a tax rate in which your earnings might fall into is bullshit. It shows the ignorance of these Christian terrorists and how they try to stir up the brain-dead bastards in the cult who vote for them. Where was I? See, over a decade, this Inflation Reduction Act, whatever they're calling it, that passed over the weekend, that bill over a decade will add about 8,000 new IRS agents per year, and they'll be dedicated to audits, customer service, and there is such a thing with IRS, I've used it, and upgrading the agency's technology. Boy, would that be a blessing. And the IRS commissioner, a guy named Charles Reddick, he said last week that the new funding would not lead to higher audit rates for households earning less than $400,000 a year. Ta-da! But this jackoff in Wisconsin, this Tim Michaels, the construction overlord, he said this, first 87,000 new IRS agents and now this? Referring to the raid in Florida. The FBI's raid this afternoon seems more like a political witch hunt than anything else. Oh, you fucking asshole. Can't you come up with an original term? Witch hunt, witch hunt. You know, if I were a witch, which I may be, I would start to get pissed off. You don't have to hunt for me. Here I am. Witch hunt. But Mr. Michaels, this jackoff who is running for governor in the Republican primary, he is, he's a typical asshole, typical Christian terrorist, has all the creative ability to form words and phrases that you would find in your average 3-year-old. Witch hunt, witch hunt. And then in a subsequent tweet, this asshole said that the former Lieutenant Governor, Rebecca Kleefisch, who is also running for governor, is Mr. Michaels' chief opponent. And she hadn't yet responded to the news that the Orange Vomits nest had been raided with legal warrants. But he said that she was, quote, wrong to stay silent. Oh, she didn't answer quick enough for this jack-off Mr. Michaels, huh? And an aide to Miss Kleefisch did not immediately respond to messages left by the New York Times. Well, I mean, It's just tragicomedy, isn't it? And then there's Tim Ramthun. He's a state assemblyman who has built his campaign for governor around the bullshit that the 2020 election can still be decertified. We're coming up on 2023. These fucking terrorist Christians will never give up. They'll never cease and desist. And this guy, Tim Ramthun, he dismissed the possibility that Trump could have committed any crimes. I mean, it's Donald Jesus Trump. He is the associate Messiah. How the fuck could he commit any crimes, right? So Tim Ramthun said, quote, "A man's home is a sacred place. No crime, no foul," end quote. He doesn't know what the fuck he's saying. No crime, no foul. What does that mean? Jack off? Huh? What does that mean? A man's home is a sacred place. It is? I don't think it would be sacred, maybe to you terrorist Christians, when you are charged with violating the law and you think you can run inside and hide. You know, it's not medieval times, you dumb shit, where a church could be a place where the king's authorities couldn't come and arrest you if you got in there and hid. Anyway, these candidates, of course, are only speaking to their party's base voters. According to the New York Times, a poll conducted last month by the Times and Siena College, 49% of registered voters and the Republican or Christian terrorists believe Trump committed serious crimes after the 2020 election. I'm sorry, that was registered voters, not the Christian terrorists. Just 10% of Christian terrorists, aka Republicans, hold that view. Only 10%. It's astonishing to me. I mean, the evidence so far is just fucking overwhelming. But still, they deny. Okay. And as we said before, the search yesterday was, or appears, we don't know, but appears to have been focused on those classified documents that the Orange Vomit stole when he was had his ass kicked out of the White House. And then he hid them in his private club and his residence. That's according to people familiar with this investigation. And one of the leading candidates in the Christian terrorist primary that's going on or went on today, this guy is running for Attorney General. He's a former state legislator named Adam Jarchow. And he condemned Democrats who he said were rooting for Mr. Trump to be prosecuted. And that's what this Christian terrorist, this guy wants to be the chief law enforcement officer in Wisconsin. And he tweeted this, quote, "This morning, Democrats told us to trust them with 87,000 new IRS agents. This afternoon, the same Democrats are cheering as the FBI, under a Democrat administration, raids the home of a former president. Let it sink in. It's time to fight back or we lose America." End quote. And this Nazi little fucker wants to be the chief law enforcement officer in Wisconsin. God damn. Talk about inmates taking over the asylum. But you know that, and I know that. It's nothing new here. Oh, and then you have Ron Johnson, the Republican he's senator. He doesn't face any primary opposition. He said that the search of Mar-a-Lago was, quote, "one more example of our two-tiered system of justice," end quote. That's right, you filthy goddamn terrorist, you. That's absolutely right. A two-tiered system of justice where scum who follow the cult of Donald Trump are above the law. And the rest of us have to abide by the rules put in place by generations of people seeking to have an orderly society. But you're right, Ron. you fuckers, you Christian devils, you really feel that you operate above the law. That's your two-tiered system of justice. You called it, buddy. And Ron Johnson, during an interview this morning with a neo-fascist talk radio host in Milwaukee, during the interview, this terrorist, Ron Johnson, offered a conspiracy theory that the search of Trump's home was an effort by federal officials to cover their tracks. Johnson said this, quote, "It wouldn't surprise me if what this whole thing is about is recovering evidence that would be embarrassing to the FBI." I mean, this is fucking madness. And yet the people of Wisconsin are probably going to reelect this piece of human shit, at least in the primary. And Johnson added that if he gets reelected and the Republicans control the Senate next year, they will hold hearings on all of this. Oh, my God. And then we have another one of these assholes. Derek Van Orden is this guy's name. He is the likely Republican nominee for a House district in western Wisconsin. And he was part of the terrorists who attacked the Capitol on January 6th, of course. And he said late last night that he was, quote, "I'm not sure what country I would be going to sleep in tonight," end quote. Well, eventually, you asshole, I would be real happy to see you going to sleep in a federal lockup someplace. But, gosh, I don't even know if you ever committed a crime. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.